Hi all, Kevin here. First, a quick announcement for my subscribers. There are only 3 more packages to arrive, and then I will do my collection update video again. So stay tuned for that. But this video, I decided to do a beginner's tutorial for the 3x3x3 to learn you how to go from this to this. Please note that this video is for complete beginners that never solved the cube before. So it's not really for my subscribers, but the reason I want to make this video is because I see a lot of tutorials out there for the beginner's method, but none of them seem to use the exact method that I learned. So I decided to make a video myself. The most beginners method, there are a lot of different beginners methods out there, and all do the same, namely you solve the first layer, you solve the second layer, and finally you solve the third layer. But with this third layer there are a lot of differences between the tutorials. So in this tutorial I will show you the method that I originally learned 3 years ago, or a little over 3 years ago. So yeah, that's what this video is about. So just like with my previous tutorials, I'll first explain the steps. What I want to do is first go over a few of the basics of the 3x3x3 cube and explain some things that are important for solving it. After that we solve the cube itself. We start by making a cross on the first layer and at the same time align these with the centers. That's step 1. Step 2 is to solve the corners, so you have the entire first layer done. Step 3 is to solve the middle layer, so you have the first 2 layers done. Then for the final layer, the top layer, when we turn the cube upside down, we first solve a cross without worrying about the placement yet. So after we have a cross here, we place the edges so they are aligned with the centers. Then we place all the corners, and as the final step we orient those corners to complete the solve. So the first basic that you need to know is that we solve the pieces and not the stickers. So what I mean by that, sometimes when I give a scrambled cube to a beginner that never solved it and say go ahead, try it, they end up with something like this. And they say, look, I've solved the first side, only 5 more to go. But the problem is, they've not solved the layer, but the side. And these are actually pieces. This, the white and red edge, this is one piece. You can separate these stickers. And the same applies to the corners. These 3 combined are one piece. So instead of this, we want to have something like this, where we have the entire layer lined up with the centers. So that's the difference. That's one very important thing to note. Another important basic that you need to know is that the centers stay always fixed in correlation with each other. What I mean by that is when we look at the solved cube, you see that when we have white at the top, we always have yellow at the bottom, green always opposite of blue, and red always opposite of orange. And when you look at it like this, when you have white at the top and green at the front, you always have the red at the right side. Even when you completely scramble the cube like this, the centers stay in the same positions of each other. We still have white on top, green at the front, and red at the right, and also the same opposites. And this, no matter how much you scramble it, this will always stay like this. One important thing to note, you can have different colors. You can, for example, your cube could have pink or purple or black. You can even have 6 different shades of blue. You can also have the same colors but in a different configuration. For example, I have these 2 cubes from the 80s. And this one, for example, has white and green, yellow next to each other instead of opposite. And also green and blue next to each other instead of opposite. And this one does have the correct opposites, so white and yellow, orange and red, green, blue. But when you compare it, it has white at the top, green at the front, but orange at the right instead of red. However, the point that I was trying to make is when you completely scramble the cube, the centers, white at the top, green at the front, you stay the same. So that's a very important thing to note. And the last thing is notation. In the tutorial I will show you algorithms, and I will very briefly go over, I will very slowly go over them. But in addition, I will also show you the algorithms required for them. And to know these algorithms, I'll first go over the moves. When you hold the cube with the face at the front, we have a right move or a right prime move. So the right is clockwise and the right prime is counterclockwise. The same applies to the left. When we go left, we go downwards because that's clockwise. And we go left prime, we go clockwise. Then we also have front or front prime. We have back or back prime. We have up or up prime. And we have down or down prime. In addition, I won't use them in this tutorial, but sometimes you also have middle slices like this. When we have M, we follow the same as the left side, so it goes down. And when we have M prime, it goes up. We also have the E move, which is like this, following the D, or E prime, like this. And the last one is the S move, which will go like this, following the front, or S prime, going the other way. So those are the basics for the methods. So when I say execute the algorithm R, U, R prime, U prime, you go R, U, R prime, U prime. So yeah, that's how the algorithms work and how the notation is. So now that we know the basics, we start with the first step, which is making a cross that lines up with the centers. So we go from this, the scrambled cube, to this, where each of these edges are aligned with the center. So how do we do this? This is actually a pretty easy step, and I recommend to just pause the video for now and try it yourself. I'm sure you'll be able to do it. If you can't, you can always come back, or if you just want to continue watching, that's also okay. So the first step is to put one of them at the top. So I see this red one, and I put it at the top, and then I align it with the center. And then I look for some of the other pieces. So I see one here, which is the green one. Now we need to look at where it needs to go. So this one has green, and so it has to go with the green center here. Well, to place it, this one can go up like this, but it doesn't belong here, it belongs here. So we can move the top layer and then put it in, and then put it back again. So the red one is correct again, and the green one is now also solved. So then we look for another one. I see the blue one here. When it's at the front like this, we can either go like this. When we haven't solved anything here yet, we can put it like this, and then put it like this. Or we can put it right below it, and then go D prime, M, D, M prime. And then it's also aligned. We could do the same for this one, so the same algorithm, D, M prime, D, M, but we could also do what I just said. We could put it like right here, and it has to go here, so we can put it at the middle layer and then put it up. But as you may have noticed, it has knocked this one out, but that's easy, we just put it back. So this is actually a very easy step. Sorry if I go over it a bit too quickly, but I think you'll be able to do this. So now let's go on to the second step. So in the second step we are going to solve the corners of the first layer. So we start with this, we have the course and we want to solve the corners. And after this step we end up like this, with the first layer completely solved and aligned with the center. So, when you solve the corners, they can be at a lot of different locations. They could be here, 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 or here. And they could even be at a completely different side. So for example, the green one, the green orange one, has to go here, but it currently is already in a corner position. So we first need to move it out, which we can do very easily. We just move the right layer down, move this one out of the way, and then put the right one back again, so we don't destroy this already solved course. So now it's here, and when it is like this, when you have the right color at the right side, and it has to go to the top, you can do R prime, D prime, R, and now you see it is right here. Well, I can do the same with this one. So align it put it at the place where it has to go, below it I mean, and go R prime, D prime, R. When you have it at the opposite side, so instead of at the right side that has to go up, it is now at the front side and has to go up. So instead of going R prime, D prime, R, we now go D prime, R prime, D, R. So the other way around. And now it's also at the top. And this one, it's already at the correct place, but it's incorrectly oriented. As I showed with the first corner that I put out, we do the same for this. We first put it out by going Y prime, D, and then move this back again. So now it's here. And now you can do one of the cases. So it's at the right side. So we go R prime, D prime, R. And that's it. We've solved the first layer. But as you may have noted, in this configuration I didn't have one at the bottom. So let me just set it up real quickly. So what happens when you have it right here at the bottom? In this case, I personally use the algorithm 2 times. So when it's at the bottom and you want to put it at the top instead, you go again R prime, D prime, but instead of once, we do 2D, and then put this right up again. So now when we move it below where it should be again, it's now at the right side. So now we can do the algorithm that we know, right prime, D prime, right, to put it in. So, and that's the first layer. On to the second one. So now we are going to solve the middle layer, where we start with this, what we have solved in the first 2 steps, and we end up like this, with the first 2 layers solved. Here there are 2 algorithms that you need to know. One of them will move a piece from here to here, and the other from here to here. So let's just first we're going to look for pieces at the bottom that don't have the bottom color at it. So in my case the bottom color is yellow. So we look for pieces that don't have, look for edges that don't have yellow in them. So this one wouldn't, we don't want to look for this kind of pieces, but for this kind of pieces. So for example this red-green one, remove this bottom layer, or actually, yes, remove the bottom layer until it's aligned with the white center. And then we look which color this is. In this case it's green, so we know that this one has to go to the left side. When it has to go to the left side, we use the following algorithm: D, L, D prime, L prime, D prime, F prime, D, F. And as you can see, it's now here, and we still have a completely solved first layer, which is what we want. Now let's look for the next piece. We see, for example, this one that also has to go here, but I also see this one to show you the other algorithm to go to the right side. So this green one has to go to the right side to be solved, and it's very similar to the previous algorithm but mirrored. So we go D prime, R prime, D, R, D, F, D prime, F prime. And now it's solved and the first layer is still completely fine. So now let's do this one again. This one has to go to the left. So a bit quicker now. D, L, D prime, L prime, D prime, F prime, D, F. And the last one, let's see, where is it? We can look for pieces that don't have yellow in them on the bottom layer. Just this one. We align it with the center, and this one also has to go to the left side. So again, D, left prime, D prime, left prime, D prime, F prime, D, F. And we've solved the first layer. However, there are a few tricky cases that you might not know how to solve. One of them is this. We already have the piece at the correct position, but it's mirrored. It has to be flipped. How I personally solve it is just execute the algorithm twice. So we just use a random piece, preferably one that has yellow in them. So at this place. So for example, this yellow red one, which is just used as a buffer place. So we put it here. And when we put this one here, this piece will go to the top layer to be solved. So let's put this one here, the right side. D prime, R prime, D, R, D, F, D prime, F prime. So now we have this red yellow here. And now this piece is at the bottom layer. So we can go D2 to align it here. And then go D prime, R prime, D, R, D, F, D prime, F prime. Let me quickly get back to where we were. As you may have noticed, when we do two different things. First, we put a buffer piece right here. Then we rotate it from here to here with D2. And then we do the same algorithm again. But that algorithm starts with a D. So let me just put this one, the buffer piece here, to explain what I mean. We put the orange and yellow right here. Go D prime, R prime, D, R, D, F, D prime, F prime. And now this piece ends up here. As I just showed, I would do D2, but then the algorithm starts with a D prime. So instead I can also just do 1D and then do the algorithm to put it here without the first D. So we basically neutralized one step because we go D and then D prime. So we can just these two just neutralize themselves. So when it was here, we do a D and then R prime D R D F D prime F prime. So that's just a shortcut, because when we go D and then D prime, we can just neutralize the two. Another case is what I have right here. I have this piece, the blue and red one, that has to go to this side. And in addition, I also have the blue and orange that has to go here, but that doesn't really matter. We could put it out and then put it in here using two algorithms, the same strategy as we used in the previous example. But for this case, we can also do a something smarter by using a shortcut. What I mean by this is when you have this case, where this piece has to go here without changing the orientation, we can put it at the right side, like here, and hold the cube upside down. And then we can use R2, U2, R2, U2, R2, U2. The last U2 isn't really required, but that's easy to remember. Just go R2, U2 3 times. And as you can see, this piece is now from here to here, and in addition, the one that was here is also here. So basically swap these two. And in addition, if you are interested in it, it also swapped these two. But since it's unsolved yet, we don't really care about this. So this is just a shortcut, so you don't have to put it out and then put it in again at the other place. You can just swap these two pieces with this R2, U2 3 times. So yeah, it's just a little shortcut. So now we go to the last layer, where we go from this, completely unsolved, to this, where we have a cross. This cross, the edges aren't at the correct place yet, that's the next step, and the corners, we also don't care about the corners yet. So we just want the cross right here. There are 3 different cases that you can, actually 4, you can already have a cross, but apart from that 3 different cases. You can have a dot, so none of the edges are correct. You can have an L, where 2 of the edges are correct. Or you can have a line, where these 2 opposites are correct. Those are the 3 cases. So let's start with the line. When we have a line case, we put them at the right side and the left side at the top. And we use the following algorithm. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And now, as you can see, we have a cross. When we have an L shape, we put them at the back and the left and do the same algorithm twice. So, for example, So F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. So now we have this L case, so we do it again. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And in this case, I have the cross. I also have the corners, but we ignore that for now. And with the dot case, you do it from any side, doesn't matter where, because we haven't solved any yet. We do the exact same algorithm again. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Now we have the L, so we position the cube, and then we can solve it as I just showed. In addition, with the L case, you may have noticed that when we end with the F, and then we have the line case, and we start with an F again. So we end with this with an F prime, and then we do an F at the start of the L again, at the line. As with the second layer, as I explained, with the D and the D prime, we can neutralize that. So what I mean, when we have the L, we can go F, R, U, R prime, U prime. And instead of an F prime, we can already start with the L, with the line case. So we just continue with R, U, R prime, U prime. And then we do the F prime. So that's again just a little shortcut to neutralize those F prime and F. Okay, now we are going to put the edge pieces at the correct place. So when we ended with something like this, with the edges incorrect, this one is correct, but these three aren't. And we end up with something like this, where each of the edges is aligned with centers. For this, you first want to look for, you can always rotate the top layer until two of the edges are correct. This is always the case, either two opposites or two adjacent are always correct. So for example, in this case, I can put it like this. So the blue and the red one are correct, and these two have to swap. Now, to swap two adjacent edges, we put them at the front, at the top front and the top left. And we use the following algorithm. R, U, R prime, U, R, 2U, R prime, U. And as you can see, it has swapped these two and didn't disturb anything else, which is what we want. You can also have this case, where two opposite edges are correct and two opposite aren't. In this case, we use the algorithm twice. So we first swap these two. So let's just do that. We swap the green one with the orange one. So we go R, U, R prime, U, R, 2U, R prime, U. So these two are swapped. And now you note that only this one is correctly aligned. So we rotate the top layer once with the U. So now these two are correct. And then we can use the same algorithm to swap these two after we reposition the cube. So again, we put them at the top front and the top left. And we go R, U, R prime, U, R, 2U, R prime, U. And that's it. We have the top layer closed. So now we are going to place all the corners. So we start with something like this, with the corners still unsolved. And now we end up with something like this, where all the corners are at the correct place. They aren't correctly oriented yet, that's the last step, but they are at the correct place. For this, we first we just orient the cube, so until we find one corner that is correctly solved, correctly placed, I mean. In this case, it's the yellow, orange, blue one. As you can see, it is correct with the orange, yellow and blue centers. So this is at the correct place. And the other two we have to cycle. We put this one at the top front right here. And to cycle the pieces, we do the following algorithm. We go U, R, U prime, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And what this has done is it has cycled these three corners from here to here, from here to here, and from here to here. And as you can see, they still aren't solved, so we have to do it again. We always have to do this once or twice. So let's do it again. And this will place this corner right here, where it has to go. This one right here, where it has to go. And this one right here, where it has to go. So, U, R, U prime, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And as you can see, they are now all at the correct place, which is what we want. You can also have a case like this, where when you look for one corner that is already at the correct place, you find none. When this happens, you just do it from any side, doesn't matter which one. And you do the same algorithm. So you go U, R, U prime, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And then you look again for a corner that is now correct. when all 4 aren't correct, and you do this algorithm, there should be 1 correct. And if not, you do it again until 1 is. So in this case, this 1 is. So now we can cycle the corners again. Again with the same algorithm. U, R, U prime, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And in this case, I got very lucky and even skipped the orientation phase. But I'll still explain it now. And finally, we have to orient the corners now that they are at the correct place. So we go from something like this to a solved cube, which is what we want, of course. There are a few different cases. You can have 3, you can have 4, you can also have just 2. So, for example, when we have 3, we put an unsolved corner at the top front right. And we do the following algorithm twice. So we go R prime, D prime, R, D. And we do it twice, so R prime, D prime, R, D. And now we look if it's correctly oriented. And it is. As you may have noted, it does destroy some things at the bottom, but we don't mind that for now. So without repositioning a cube, this is very important. You want to hold the cube in the same exact position. And you only rotate this top layer. So we rotate it once. Look, this corner is already correct, so we rotate it again. This one has to rotate, so we do the same algorithm twice again. So R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And it's also correct, so we do U again. And do the same algorithm twice again. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And then you can just rotate the top layer to solve the cube. So that's basically it. But I also show it on these 2 cases, just for completeness. So with this one, we put it at the top front right. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. As you may have noted, it isn't solved yet, so we just continue. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And now it is. So we rotate the top layer and do it for this one. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And it's solved, so now the next one. As you may have noted, the bottom 2 layers are solved again. For every 3 times, you do the R prime, D prime, R, D times 2. So for every 6 times you do R prime, D prime, R, D. The bottom 2 layers will be solved again. But these 2 aren't solved yet, so let's just continue. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And it's solved. So the top layer, R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And again, R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And then we just rotate the top layer to complete the solve. And just for the final one, so we have everything solved. We put an incorrect piece at the top front right. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And again, R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. We rotate U twice to put the next one at the top front right. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And then we just rotate the top layer. So, that's it. As you may have noticed, your cube is solved. I hope this tutorial has helped you. Leave any comments, feedback, or if you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask, and I'll try to explain them. Anyway, I hope this tutorial has helped you. For my subscribers, I know all of you can already solve the cube, but because I couldn't really find beginners methods that use this method that I use, I decided to make one myself and just explain it for the complete beginners. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to leave the like if this video has helped you, and of course subscribe for more videos. Just to note, I probably will do tutorials for more obscure puzzles as the two that I already have. But if you also enjoy collection videos, really subscribe to me, because that's what I will continue with. And I also have a plan for top 5 videos. So for example, top 5, my top 10s, I mean, top 10 favorite puzzles, top 10 most expensive puzzles, top 10 rarest puzzles, top 10 biggest, smallest, whatever. All kind of top 10s, but I'll get back to that when the first one has been uploaded. So yeah, thank you all, and goodbye.